IVM.
I want to thank Intel for supporting our show. Do you remember last year when we spoke about how the Intel vPro platform is built for business? Well, I'm glad to say we've kicked it up a notch. That's right, Intel is back with a new and improved version of the platform. The new Intel vPro platform lets you do more of what you want and less of what you don't. So it's better for you and for your IT teams, who really are the backbone of keeping your work from home experience easy and enjoyable. I can safely say that the new vPro platform gives you more enterprise efficiency with less constraints. Visit intel.in/morewithvpro, that's VPRO, to discover how you can get more done with less waiting. If you're listening on the IVM Podcast Android app, click the link that's visible to you now.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach Podcast, the bite-sized podcast filled with quick and easy, actionable habits. Remember, great habits create that awesome life. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach, and today's fun fact of the day has to do with Indian housewives. Did you know that Indian housewives hold 11% of the world's gold? That is more than the reserves of the USA, the IMF, Switzerland, Germany put together. And by some estimates, that's close to 25,000 tons. Just imagine what we could do with that kind of money. And at this point of working on this podcast, I tried making that calculation. How many dollars is 25,000 tons of gold? Well, let's just say that there were enough zeros there to make Aryabhatta very proud of having invented the zero. And when I read this fact, it struck me as something so deep and funny. To get each gram of gold, miners have to dig deep into the ground, risking life and limb. And some mines in South America are so high up that the miners could suffer altitude sickness as well. It's risky business searching for gold and mining for it. Yet people do it. Why? Because it is worth it. That gold nugget is worth far, far more than the cost of mining. It is the value associated with that precious metal. Just think about it. More steel is produced each day than all the gold has ever been mined in human history. We have to move tons of dirt to get to that little golden nugget. That is true for our lives as well. For our minds are filled with dirt. All that rubbish thoughts that we have every single day, all that useless thinking that goes on, the mindless scrolling on apps, the endless back and forths of anxious thoughts in our mind, it's all dirt, rubbish. And if we spend all day rolling around in that dirt, what happens? We get dirtier. Now, not all dirt is bad, and you can grow trees in dirt that can bear fruit for you if you know how. And there is a whole separate podcast that I had made for that. It's called Garden Your Mind. You must listen to that. But today, I don't want to talk about gardening your mind. I want to talk about mining your mind, digging deep, going past the dirt, sifting through the dirt to find your golden nuggets. As your habit coach, I want you to discover the riches buried deep inside you. You can't see them, so we think that they do not exist. We see them in others, and we get jealous of that. And we call them lucky, not realizing that we too can mine for them. It just takes a little effort. So, how do you mine your mind? You do it through introspection, through teaching ourselves how to think. The wisdom of the world resides between your ears. You just have to learn to move the dirt to get to the gold. And every wise man, every philosopher has learnt this. It starts by observing your thoughts, the good, the bad, and the ugly thoughts. Then digging deep into them. Ask why, where, how, what, and when. These are the classic questioning words. You have to invest the time with yourself thinking, making a habit of structuring it into your day. When I was younger, I would use the time waiting at the bus stop to introspect and philosophize on these things. Back then, I realized some of the fundamental ideas that I even share with you all today on the podcasts. Now, it's been years since I took a bus, so I have woven it into now my morning practice, my morning gratitude practice. I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for and then begin to dig deep on any one of those that I've mentioned. Why am I grateful? What aspect of my life makes it so? And I go on and on and on thinking about it, asking those fundamental questions. Why, when, what, how? Sometimes I find a nugget of gold, and other times it's just digging practice. Now, what to do once you find that gold? Use it or share it. Don't keep it safe in your locker. Wear it, make jewelry or useful objects from it, or talk about it and write about it. Remember, this is not about becoming an intellectual and having intellectual discussions. This is about finding your golden nugget. It's a very personal journey. So your simple habit for mining your mind starts by finding a time of day when you will be undisturbed with your thoughts. Then sit down and ask yourself the questioning words. Look at these answers without judgment and then dig some more. It takes practice. I'm not going to lie. It's not easy. It takes practice. But soon you will know where to look for the nuggets and what they're like. So sift through the dirt in your mind and find this gold that is hidden underneath. We all have it. It's just a question of looking for it, digging for it, and knowing when you get it. So start these habits and share with us your progress using the hashtag #TheHabitCoach. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome180.
I hope you enjoyed that show. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Intel. It's been a great week on the network this week. If you haven't been paying attention, please do listen to some of the shows. We had Chetan Bhagat. This was the first returning guest on Cyrus Says. Do check that out. Great episode. We had Palak Zatakia on Advertising is Dead. Really interesting conversation was had with Varun. We had another crossover on the Habit Coach. Zarina Poonawala showed up over there to have a discussion with Ashdin about anxiety and pressure. Begin the Journey with Ashish Vidyarthi continues to kill it. Please definitely do check it out. An old friend, Vijay Koshi, was on Storytellers and Storysellers. Do check that out as well. And I'd like to mention one thing. If you're a Tamil speaker, you should definitely check out our podcast, Kadai Podcast Punyan Selvan. Kavita Jiva has done a fantastic job to finish up her first story. It is the last episode which just came out last Monday. Do check it out if you speak Tamil. It is an incredible achievement. Please do check that out. And with that, hope to see you again next week.
Entertainment is like food for the brain. It's a window to culture and a great way to understand the world around us. The internet has changed what it means to be an entertainer, creating new storytellers with millions of fans. It has spawned a new breed, the story sellers, those behind the scenes creating the business for this ecosystem. They work with brands, platforms and channels who are keen to capitalize on an audience hungrier than ever for more stories. I'm Vineet Kanabar, and I have a ringside view to how stories are told and sold. On my show, I bring you creators, artists, executives, and marketers for a freewheeling conversation around the business of entertainment. Tune in to Storytellers and Storysellers for personal stories, analysis, and criticism every Thursdays as I talk to the brightest minds telling or selling great stories today.